You're entitled to my opinion. Now, normally when I'm performing, there would be an MC, there would be an opening act. Somebody would come out and say, you know, please introduce me and so forth. And we don't have that now because of the pandemic. So why don't we create an opening act who can bring me on properly? All right. So let's say the opening act, his name is Derek Biscuit. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. He's been doing comedy for 3 or 4 years. He took a class. He recently came in third in the Great Arizona Laugh Off. Please welcome Mr. Derek Biscuit. Oh, hey, thank you. That's totally cool. Thanks a lot. Okay. Oh yeah. Hey, I'm from Phoenix. That's a dry heat. All right. Without further ado, you guys ready for your headliner? I can't hear you. Are you ready for your? Oh, all right. Okay, your headliner. You may have seen him on the Arsenio Hall show. He's written jokes for Jay Leno, David Letterman, and of course, he was a staff writer for Arsenio Hall. Let's get ready to rumble. Please welcome Phil Perrier. Woo. Wow, thank you, God. Good job, Derek. Anyway, man, it's good to be here, and by here I mean my own home. Um, you know, here we are, folks. I mean, my world tour got canceled. The first gigs to go, I was booked at the Funny Bone in Wuhan province. That got canceled. Then I was booked at the Mushu Arena in Beijing. That got canceled. Then I was in General Tso's Pavilion in the Ping Pong province. That got canceled. And then I was at the Orange Chicken Arena. Well, I don't want to bore you, but the point is, I had a world tour, the gluten-free tour. My career was finally, after that first rough 30-year, entry-level process, things were taking off. I just dropped my album, Smell My Finger, had just dropped on 8-track, and it was out. Now, sadly, it's back in. I was the #1 comic on MySpace. I mean, things were really starting to pop. My people at gigmasters.com were in negotiations with Bill Cosby's people for me to be Bill Cosby's opening act when he got out of prison. And then, boom, along came the pandemic, and here I am. But anyway, I just want you to know this. We're gonna have a good time tonight for this next 30 minutes or so, and this is gonna be kind of PG. 12. It's going to be clean. I'm not going to have a lot of F's and S's. Instead I'll say go fudge yourself, or man, I'd like to fudge her, or you're full of shoot, or slurp shoot, or suck my dinky doodle. Stuff like that. Just try to keep it clean. I definitely want the children. So bring the kids into the room. Let's just all let's have a good time. So anyway, what's new in my world? Well, let's see. Couple of years ago, my mom died and left me her house in Atlanta. So after 18 and a half years in LA, I packed up my belongings, or actually my beautiful lady friend Tracy and I packed up my belongings, and I left my home that I loved, my girlfriend, my career, my hopes, my dreams. I drove 2,000 miles. I got to Atlanta. Shortly thereafter, my uncle died. Shortly thereafter, the pandemic struck. So just business as usual. Nothing here, nothing going on here. Just moving along. Same old, same old. Aside from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? And now I'm at that point. I just turned 56 years young. It's like we're all kind of a GPS system at this point. It's like recalculating. It's like, wow, I'm 56 years old. I'm not rich and famous. I guess I'm recalculating. I'm 56, and I guess I'm never going to play for the Atlanta Braves. Recalculating. But I'm at an age now, ladies look at me and they're like, wow, Phil, is that a pistol in your pocket? You're just glad to see me. It's like, no, that's a hernia. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, thanks for noticing that overt bulge. But, it's not all bad being older. I mean, I did enjoy, I had a colonoscopy a few years ago. And I was blown away by it. I actually, I enjoyed it. I mean, not to having a camera jammed up my keister, but you're on Demerol. First of all, if you're on Demerol, really almost anything they could do to you. It's like, okay, Mr. Perrier, we're going to shove a large brick up your butt. It's like, okay. So I'm on Demerol and I'm lying on my side in a dark room, and the nurses were all really sweet, you know, and I'm watching on a monitor, I'm watching my colon, which is, it looked fantastic. I mean, I cleaned it out the night before, and I was like, wow, it looks like a good looking one bedroom apartment, you know. I mean, it was spotless. It was lovely. I mean, all I needed was a bong and a futon. That was my best apartment. But you know, my favorite part of the colonoscopy is in the recovery period afterwards, where you're lying there and you're just farting your guts out. I mean, it's like and there's a whole bunch of people in recovery, so it's like a whole bunch of it's like a frog pond. The doctor's like, I hear money. But anyway, here we are enjoying the pandemic. You know, one thing I've noticed, because I wear a mask, you have to wear a mask pretty much by law now, and I wear a mask everywhere I go. And I've noticed if you have bad breath in a mask, you get a not very subtle reminder of that every exhale. It's like, oh, I got bad breath. Oh, that's bad. Oh, onions. Oh, garlic. Oh, I don't know what that is. So, but, you know, the thing about the pandemic, I live alone, and I've lived alone for years, and I like living alone. And if I have a girlfriend, she comes over and we do stuff, and then, you know, she gets the hell out. And so it's harder. So for me, this has been the days of wine and roses. I mean, this has been the easiest 6 months of my life, and there's no traffic and parking's not a problem. But if you got a family, it's hard. I mean, you know, people always say, oh, I want to spend more time with your family. No, you don't. Okay, more time with your family is a wonderful concept, but it's an awful reality. Okay, the old familiarity breeds contempt. I mean, people being jammed together, after a while, your family's like, no, just you know, we're good. Just dad, just take a walk. You know, go do something else. And you know, couples, if you're together too much, there are real strains on your relationship. You know, and in fact, I would recommend, if you live with a significant other, I would check their computer searches and look for red flags. Look for words like shovel and 20-pound bag of lime and wood chipper and good place to dump a headless body and headless body fun facts and headless body do's and don'ts and headless body frequently asked questions. You see where I'm going with this thing? Kind of a headless body thing. But anyway, I tell you what, you know, there have been, you know, this is not a joke. I mean, like, as of today, I think over 160,000 Americans have died from this pandemic. And I remember when I was a little kid, you know, I was talking to my dad about life. And first of all, he said that the universe is endless. And when you're 4 years old, you can't get your mind around an endless universe. You're like, no, there's got to be, at the end of the universe, there's a wall or a chain link fence with a no smoking sign, and that's the end of the universe. And then I pressed on, and I asked Dad, I said, well, what happens when we die? And my parents were atheists, right? So there's no heaven or hell or afterlife or reincarnation. He's like, well, you know, just when you die, that's pretty much it. It's over. And I mean, I panicked. I mean, I started crying. I'm 4 years old, and my dad is telling me, when you die, you're just gone for eternity. That was more than I could handle. And then he was like, well, but you know, there's this thing where you cryogenically can be frozen, and then when they figure out how to fix what killed you, they could bring you back. And I was like, yeah, freeze me. But you know, honestly, if you think of, I mean, living forever sounds in some ways scarier than dying. I mean, what if you're living forever and you don't want to be, and there's no way out? You know, it's like being at the DMV, and you're like, look, can I die? Like, no. You've got eternal life, Sparky. You know, you got to just keep on partying. But anyway, this is now the time for me to talk about what I believe. You know, because my parents were atheists, and now, you know, I believe in some kind of. I think Einstein said that he believes in God, but doesn't believe his mind could really fully grasp it. So, what I believe in, I believe that there is some type of intelligence behind the universe. I believe that if a woman boxer wins a world title belt, she should also win matching shoes. I believe if a man has the man bun hairstyle after the age of 50, he should have to spend 1 year in a maximum security prison with the man bun hairstyle. I believe that the Peloton exercise bike is the world's most expensive coat rack. I believe that that guy at the wedding who always wears a kilt is deeply in the closet. But I'm not sure if he's in the closet as gay or Scottish. I believe guys should not wear bow ties. It poses too many questions. Like, what are are you a librarian? Are you on the down low? Are you in the Nation of Islam? Are you the ice cream man? Are you a bouncer at a titty bar? Just wear a regular tie. How about that? I mean, I don't really, you know. But anyway, I was talking about growing up in the 70s, and back then we didn't have. Now we have secondhand smoke. Back then it was just called air. My parents smoked, and everywhere you went, everybody. You go to restaurants. Will that be smoking or non-smoking? You could. When I first flew in an airplane, when I was like 3 or 4 years old, people were smoking there was a smoking section. First class, you could smoke on an airplane. You could smoke in buses. You could smoke in any building. There were ashtrays if you go to a doctor, he's probably got anyway, let me just check you for a hernia. I mean, everybody smoked. My parents, one time when I was about 11 or 12, I had pneumonia. And we're driving to the hospital, we're driving to see the doctor. My parents are smoking. My dad's got a Lucky Strike non-filtered. My mom's smoking a Marlboro Red. I wonder why Phil's having respiratory problems. Yeah, I wonder indeed. But anyway, but back then, we didn't have as much kind of BS in our language as we do now. Like, for instance, the word pansexual. Pansexual. It used to be if you had sex with men and women, you were bisexual. That made sense. Now you're pansexual. Now we all know from the pandemic, pan means everything. So literally pansexual means you have sex with men, women, children, animals, flora and fauna, inanimate objects, arch supports, Toyota Camrys. Let's just drop the pansexual, okay? Pans, pots. Another word that I find is kind of a BS word is device. Your phone is a device. When I was growing up, the only device that we had in the house, my mom had a device in a shoebox under the bed. But that's all we're going to say about that. Okay? So that's about it for devices. Also back then, we didn't have this, now with this political correctness, like, comedians, I mean, if you showed something I did 20 years ago, that would be so wild. Like, okay, I used to do a joke. I'm not going to do the joke now, but I used to do a joke about, okay, I'm divorced, which I was and still am. I don't think that goes away, but I was divorced, and I did a joke about, I said, well, I think, I believe that gay people have the right to get married and be just as broke and unhappy as everybody else. And then I said, but you know what gay marriage is going to lead to? Gay divorce. And if you thought a heterosexual divorce got bitchy, just wait till you got a husband and wife named Ron and Gary going 15 rounds over a Mazda Miata and a toy poodle. Now, I couldn't do that joke now. I mean, that's hate speech now. Back then, it was just, one of the funnier jokes in my act. Thank you very much. But, that'll have to be the last time I do that joke. And frankly, I'll probably get kicked off of various platforms. But, and also, we used to perform on stage. We didn't have platforms. But I will say, though, the pandemic, I have watched a freakish amount of television. I would like to thank Guy Fieri for Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and Triple G, which is Guy's Grocery Games. I've been watching Beating Bobby Flay. I've been watching Man versus Food. I love reality shows. I watch Tiger King, and I'm a little ashamed of myself, but I I love Pawn Stars. And my favorite thing about Pawn Stars is the disparity between what somebody asks for an item and what they will actually take for that item. I was watching a while back, and a guy walks into the pawn shop with a Civil War sword, right? And he shows it to Rick, the owner. Rick's not sure if it's real, so he calls in Mark Hall Patton from the museum. Turns out it's real, right? Now we're getting down to the negotiation. And so Rick, the owner's like, so what, how much do you want for it? The guy said, I want $100,000. And Rick was like, I don't know. I'll tell you, in this condition, I'll give you $400. And the guy said, how about $450? All right, now this guy just went from $100,000 to $450. Okay, this guy should not negotiate for anything at any time with, and this guy would trade you his wife for a ham sandwich and half a pack of cigarettes. Okay, let's see. Other show I like to watch American Pickers, which is about two guys in a paneled van driving around buying antiques. The original concept I heard was it was called American Pedophiles, and it was a whole different concept. I like to see. I like Bear Grylls. This British commando who takes like celebrities into the woods for like a week, and they survive in the harshest conditions and eat only what they can scrounge together. And Bear always finds a way to make whatever he's eating even more horrifying. Say, ooh, that's a wood grub. That's good protein. But first, I'm going to clean it with my urine. No, come on, Bear. Don't clean things with your urine. Bring a Snicker bar, for the love of God. Well, I like also, okay, shows about ghost hunters, because there are several of them, and I've enjoyed all of them. And I believe, I think there is something to ghosts. I think someday science will explain it. I don't know. There's some residual left over from dead people sometimes. But so these ghost hunters, these ghost experts, these are experts to the extent you can be experts in stuff that does not exist. But they go into these haunted houses with sophisticated listening devices, and they listen and they hear the ghost. Later on, they got headphones, they got their laptops, and they're listening the whole night, and they hear something like, "Hey, did you hear that? He said get out." It was plain as day. I'm thinking, I don't know. It didn't sound so much like get out. It sounded more like, "Arr." But I guess if you're an expert, in ghost language, means, get out. Also, by the way, if you've been watching my Virus Schmirus monologues every Monday at 1 o'clock on Facebook, you may have noticed that I have an infinitely better camera here. My friend Hal, one of my best buddies from high school, and a lifelong friend of mine, great guy, he gave me this for my birthday the other day. And this is a state-of-the-art webcam, so you can see all the, and I've been doing makeup and all sorts of stuff. I'd like to also thank Don for taking me out to a fantastic dinner, and then my nephew and his mom, David and Angela, took me out for a fantastic Mexican lunch, man. So I've been very pampered and spoiled, But I want to talk about serious issues because there's a lot of serious stuff going on nowadays. And one of the big things, and I'm an advocate. I'm an anti-bullying individual, and right now there's a big problem with cyberbullying. And cyberbullying, if you don't know what that is, means that people will say disparaging things about you on social media, like Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And now, when I was growing up, we had a thing called actual bullying. This is where you're walking down the hall in school, and a big kid grabs you, yanks your underwear up to your spleen, shoves you in a locker, and slams the door shut. And it's scary and it's traumatic. And, for the rest of your life, you think I should have done this and I should have done that. And it's really easy to be brave in retrospect. But at the time when a kid 3 times your size shoves you in a locker, you pretty much take it. So that's about it for cyberbullying. And back then we had a saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And now we have a saying, she called me fat. But now I'm a huge fan of the internet. I wouldn't be, obviously right now I'm reaching millions of people through the World Wide Web with my special, which again is entitled "You're Entitled to My Opinion." But another thing I love is YouTube, because now, I don't know if you've noticed, there are YouTube instructional videos for everything. If you want to look up wiping your butt, I guarantee there's a kid in India doing earlier today, I did a vasectomy on a hummingbird. I watched a 3-minute video. A 12-year-old in Australia showed you how to do it, and I watched it 2.5 times. And I just did this vasectomy on the hummingbird. The hummingbird is doing fantastic. The sutures look great. His wife is tickled pink, unless that's her natural color. But anyway, that's I think if you have anything you want to do, look at YouTube and it will tell you how to do it. Another thing about the modern times that we're all enjoying is these Fitbit. Like my nephew David's got this Fitbit watch, which has got, like, I don't know, his heart rate, his blood pressure, his credit score, all sorts, sperm count. And that's fine and dandy. But, it's like most of us through life, I think we just kind of assume that our vital signs are kind of between the lines, or else we would know it. Like if you've got the Fitbit watch, it's not going to tell you, oh, you're going to have a stroke in half an hour. It's just going to happen. You're going to be at the gym, and all of a sudden, and next thing you know, you're looking up at legs, and there's people standing, there's EMT saying, sir, you've swallowed your tongue. Sir, can you hear? How many fingers, sir? How many fingers? And by the way, that you're either dying or in tremendous legal trouble when people are calling you sir, okay? Sir, you're a Chuck E. Cheese's. Pull your pants up. Sir, you're going to jail. Little signs that you're in trouble or dying is when people are calling you sir. Another thing about the modern times. Now, I am an avid meat eater. Like I ate a steak the other day. I'm having pork chops for dinner. I love meat, and I respect people that are vegans. But when I was living in LA, vegans. I heard a friend of mine who said, "We don't eat anything with a face." Okay, well, I'm such a carnivore. When I go to a restaurant, I order the face. I'm like, yeah, can I get a pig's face, please, with a little horseradish and mustard, maybe some mint jelly on the side. And something I've noticed about vegetarians and vegans is they're always trying to recreate meat, right? It's like, veggie hot dog, veggie hamburger, veggie patties. You don't see it the other way. You don't see people going to a restaurant saying, look, if this prime rib does not taste like oatmeal, I'm not going to pay for it. If these baby back ribs don't taste like wheat germ, I'm going to be very pissed off. You don't see that. You see, it's a contradiction, is my point. But and another thing about the modern times is I think people might be taking their pets a little bit too seriously. I was watching TV the other day, and now there are anxiety drugs for dogs. I mean, do we really need to be medicated? I mean, do we need to be giving people our worst habits and impulses? And do we want dogs that are like strung out? You're walking in a bad neighborhood and there's like chihuahuas like, hey, man, hey, hook me up, dude. I don't think so. I think we should leave these dogs. And then, later on, I mean, that could be a gateway drug to, milk bones laced with meth. I mean, let's just leave our dogs alone. If it seems like I feel like I'm out of touch with the times, I do a little bit. I mean, for one thing, at my age, when you watch the Grammy Awards, it's just like, who are these people? I don't know anybody. I don't know any of these. It's like, where's Bruce Springsteen? Where's Linda Ronstadt? Who is Cardi B? And why do they think she can sing? If you think Cardi B can sing, Pat Benatar will knock your dinky doodle in the dirt, my friends. I'll tell you, Pat Benatar will eat Cardi B and poop Ariana Grande. Deborah Harry could eat Taylor Swift and poop Katy Perry. I mean, it's just, and the thing is also, when you realize how quickly we forget about celebrity. I mean, like, look at a 10-year-old People magazine. You're like, my God, these people have all vanished. I mean, when's the last time you thought about Paris Hilton or Mike the Situation Sorrentino or anybody from the Jersey Shore? I mean, here's the situation. Okay, the situation is if you go to a good steakhouse right now, Mike the Situation Sorrentino may very well be valet parking your car. The situation is he ain't got no money anymore. The situation is he's not famous. The situation sucks, ladies and gentlemen. But another thing, and this, because obviously we're going through some racial challenges. And, I live in the Kirkwood section of Atlanta, and I love Atlanta. I grew up in Atlanta. And Atlanta has got Stone Mountain, which is the largest hunk of granite on the planet. And on Stone Mountain, on the side of Stone Mountain, are the largest carvings on the planet in stone of 3 Confederate heroes, Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, and Stonewall Jackson. Now, the logistics of trying to, sandpaper or get rid of 3 gigantic 100-foot tall Confederate douchebags, it's almost impossible. So here's my plan, all right? Let's rename it a country music commemorating thing, and it's not Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee, and Jefferson Davis. Now it's Kenny Rogers, Waylon Jennings, and Willie Nelson. Yeah, you see, they've all got beards. They're all white guys. The total budget for that is zero. Then the next time Stone Mountain wants to change their brochure, instead of saying these are 3 Confederate heroes, these are 3 country music legends, you're welcome. Problem solved. But anyway, hopefully soon, I'm going to be closing out here in a few minutes, but hopefully soon, I'll get back to doing gigs in person for real, warm bodies, and because it's really hard to get quality blowjobs through the. I'm sorry, but my point, I'd like to get back. My favorite gigs are casino gigs, because first of all, I love the free buffets that the comedians get. The stages are beautiful, state of the art light and sound. And where else but a casino can you see a 90-year-old woman sitting at a slot machine? She's got a Jack and Coke in the cup holder of her Hover-Round. She's smoking a Benson and Hedges menthol 125 cigarette. She's got oxygen. She's got tubes in her nose and an oxygen tank on wheels by her side. She's playing nickel slots with her EBT. And by the way, that's when you're playing with your food stamps money. Now that's gambling. I mean, that involves a delicious little element of chance, doesn't it? It's like, come on, baby. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Come on, hit me. But anyway, bottom line, I'm a 56-year-old middle-class white guy. I've got a valid driver's license. I've got car insurance. I've got AAA. I've got air in my spare. I've got batteries in my flashlight. I've got money in both savings and checking. I've got stocks and bonds. I've got receipts and extended warranties for shit I don't even own anymore. I do not bounce checks. I do not get arrested. I do not sleep on couches or futons. When I leave the house, I pack a lunch, a sweater, an umbrella. I'm wearing a condom at this very moment. I like fake eyelashes and real boobs, baby. That's who I am, man. But I'm woke, I'm woke. I'll admit that. I particularly like to get woke at about 4 in the morning with a giant pair of boobs in my face. That's how to get woke. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, we got a couple minutes here. You guys have been fantastic. I've heard a lot of laughter in the upper deck and in the sky boxes. But I've come up with a top 10 list of this is a top 10 list of the top 10 best things about the pandemic. Okay, number 10, can trade hand sanitizer for Xanax. Number 9, being a lazy bum now called doing the right thing. Number 8, can forget about all that bathing and hygiene dogma. Number 7, escort services now running specials. Number 6, can now spend more time with my cats. Number 5, more time to focus on people I hate. Number 4, being a loser now called social distancing. Number 3, can watch Celebrity Autopsy for 6 hours without guilt. Number 2, plenty of time to focus on past failures and grievances. And the number 1 best thing about the pandemic, perfect time to stockpile weapons and stock my doomsday cellar. That's it, folks. You've been fantastic. I'd like to thank everybody. If you enjoyed this, share it with your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, share it with your enemies. I'm Phil Perrier. I am signing out. Good night and Godspeed.